Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the St. Barnabas Healthcare System, Seton Hall University, a home for the mind, the heart, and the spirit, MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey, and by QualCare Inc., a local managed care company covering 750,000 New Jersey residents.
This is One-on-One.
That's good acting, man.
I get that a lot. I go to Atlantic City all the time, like, are you the guy? I go, no, I'm not.
This is one you can't afford to miss.
They thought that I wouldn't survive it, but I knew I would.
You know, folks, we love the sun. You know, some people worship the sun, but the sun has its dangers as well. And here to talk about it is a good friend who I've been wanting to have on for a long time. She's Teri Festa. She's Executive Director and Board President of the Ray Festa Melanoma Foundation. Good to see you, Teri.
Good to see you, Steve. Thank you.
Teri, let's talk about what this is, the Ray Festa Melanoma Foundation. What is it, and why is it so important to you?
Well, it's important to me probably on two levels. It started off probably more of a personal mission. My father died 17 years ago of melanoma, and we started a foundation in his name. And it was not a lot of direction. We just really wanted to honor him. We started that we would give money to different cancer research and just contribute to things that we thought were worthwhile. Then 9/11 came, and there were very pressing issues, and we felt we would go into a self-imposed exile. And about a year and a half ago, we felt it was time to come back. And when we came back, we said, let's do it with a real focused, targeted mission and look at melanoma. And melanoma, at first we were saying we wanted to find the cure for melanoma.
Right.
Through research and all these kinds of things. And we brought in a doctor, Dr. Danny Greusser, who is our medical director of our board. And he said, you don't need to find the cure for melanoma. The cure for melanoma is preventing it,
right,
or detecting it very early. So we started on that. It's a big, just an awareness and education message to tell everybody, wear your sunscreen. When you go out, just treat the sun with respect.
By the way, we have your website on as we're talking about this, the rayfesta.org website.
Thank you.
A lot of misconceptions out there, because you and I have talked about this before, and because we happen to be Italian American, right? Mm-hmm. And some of us who, whether you're Italian or other ethnic groups, who believe that in general we have darker skin, right? And we grew up at the Jersey Shore.
Right, with oil,
yeah,
iodine, oil, foil, I mean the whole thing.
Yeah, I can't even believe we did it.
It was bad.
But here's the deal. In my head, even though I try to do the right thing, I have convinced myself that because my skin is darker, I'm less likely to become a victim of melanoma. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, but you know, people think that if they don't burn, they're protected. And that's, in some cases, somewhat true, because the more burned you get, the more, what it's doing is a cellular degeneration to your DNA. So the more exposure you have, the more exposure the DNA is going to be altered. So you're not necessarily, if you get a burn on your shoulder, you're not necessarily going to get a skin cancer on your shoulder. It could happen on the back of your leg. Right. Darker skinned people are better protected, but the constant exposure to the UV rays will affect you eventually, or could affect you eventually. There's a genetic history that's attached to it. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but the one that we can control is our exposure to the sun. Okay, so again, I was also saying that we were out with our kids who are 5 and 7, and when the show airs, they'll be 6 and 8. And one is darker than the other. Right. Our little guy, Chris, is pretty light, like my wife. And he jumps in, he's got the sun, he's got the 40 on, but then he jumps in the pool. Right. Comes out. Right. What do you do? You need to reapply. I mean, that's a big issue, is the proper use of sunscreen. When it's tested in the labs, they put it on, rather liberally. When we do it, we rub it in, we don't want this to show, so you're really reducing its effectiveness. So the higher amount of sunscreen that you use, SPF factor, the better protected you're going to be, simply because they're allowing for, the lesser coverage.
And by the way, you are targeting young people. We are targeting young people.
Why We're really talking, we want to change behavior. I think it's important that, just like kids today, when they get into a car, they automatically strap on their seatbelt. I mean, to me, it's still a conscious effort to do that. My daughter, 14 years old, wouldn't imagine getting into a car and not putting on a seatbelt. We want her to have that we want kids today to have that same thought. When you're walking outside in the sun, all 12 months a year, not just in the summer, but every day you're exposed to the sun, they wouldn't think about going out without putting on sunscreen.
So it's changing behaviors.
We're trying to change behavior.
One of the behaviors have to do with tanning beds.
Well, that absolutely.
What's up with it?
It's a human carcinogen now. I mean, the World Health Organization has determined that it is absolutely, if you exposed to a tanning bed in your early days, your chances of getting skin cancer are 75% higher.
All right, listen, full disclosure, because I hate doing shows where I come across as like a hypocrite.
Right.
There have been times I've gone into, all right, dead of winter, okay,
Yeah.
you're white as a ghost,
Yeah.
whatever, even though there's tons of makeup on me now.
That's what we say to do.
Okay, yeah, do that, because what I was about to say was I have gone in, and I did confront a guy in a town that we know very well, and I said, listen, I'm doing this show. He goes, oh, Steve, do you have any idea how many times you would have to be in this tanning bed? You don't do that often.
No.
Talk about that, and then we'll talk about the makeup.
The exposure, tanning beds are just an absolute, what we're doing is a lifestyle organization. We know you're going to go outside and be exposed to the sun. So we try to teach you to do it responsibly. You know, in a perfect world, you wouldn't be exposed to the sun because it can be harmful.
Right.
Well, the sun is there for a good reason.
There.
But it's there, and you're going to use it, so now you just need to use it with respect. Going into a tanning bed, you're asking to be exposed to the sun for no reason. It's not a recreational reason. It's not healthy. It's simply to look good. And we think there are many alternatives out there to simply look good. We did an event in February at the Bobby Brown studio. She's on our board.
The great Bobby Brown, who's been on this show many times.
I'm sure she has. And she's a great part of our board because we're looking at both the medical side, and suntan is very related to beauty.
Issues. Right.
So we did an event in February at her studio, and we talked about what it's like to be exposed to the sun and what you can do. And then we showed the alternatives, how to have a healthy glow. And we did a whole makeup session of bronzers and glosses. And in the middle of the winter, February, everybody walked out looking with that healthy glow.
But they were
And that's what
mostly
everybody's
women,
looking at.
no?
Those were all women,
What
but
about,
men can do it too. There's all kinds of things you can do.
metrosexuals like myself?
Metrosexuals, there's many of self-tanners that can go out there. No
Are
one
they
will even
really?
know.
I've never done a
No one will
self-tanner.
even know
Get
that you're
out
doing
of here.
it.
Are you serious?
You can spray it on. There's even spray tans that you can use in studios, in a tanning studio.
Is that right?
Yes.
And it doesn't make you look orange?
Does not. They've come
So
a long way, baby.
technology's come a long way.
Yes, it has. It really has. So the need for the tanning bed has outlived its usefulness.
What's up for the foundation in the future?
What are we doing? Well, we really want to model ourselves after the Susan G. Komen. They've got a great model.
They have
where
a
they've
great
got
foundation.
A great foundation, and they've got chapters throughout the country that all report into the one organizing body, and that's what we're looking to do. We're looking for people to start a foundation in their local areas, whether it's in California, Florida, Mexico, anywhere.
Log on to the website. By the way, 5 tips to prevent melanoma. Let's go with this. Use sunscreen every day, summer and winter.
Summer and winter. 12 months a year.
By the way, you have a partnership with the New Jersey Sports Interscholastic Athletic Association, particularly because they're the ones who regulate kids being out there.
Right.
Item number 2, apply sunscreen every 6 to 8 hours immediately after swimming.
Or perspiring, which is big for athletes.
Avoid high sun in the summer and wear protective clothing. Hats help.
I love hats. I have a hat face.
You have a great hat face.
I do. So I would wear one today, but it wasn't good for the lighting.
No, it would not be good. Stay away from sun lamps and tanning beds. We already did that. Get a baseline examination from a board-certified dermatologist.
That's
my dermatologist is big on this. He's like, Steve, you got to get the whole thing checked, the body scan. That's big.
It's big, and it's a good baseline. You get to know your body. Know the skin you're in is one of the things that we say.
Know the skin you're in.
Know the skin you're in, because you yourself are going to be able to detect something before anybody else. Another thing we're doing is we're trying to educate other practitioners, massage therapists, personal trainers, because manicurists and hairdressers.
What to look for.
They're the ones that are seeing you. They're examining parts of your skin you may never look at. So if we can educate them as the first line of defense, that's another way. It's all about early detection and prevention.
Here we go. Now, the Ray Festa Melanoma Foundation, Teri Festa, is the board president, executive director. You know, your dad would be proud of you right now.
I hope so.
You're doing good things.
Thank you.
All right?
Yes.
Listen, folks, everything you just heard in the last 8 minutes is very valuable. Winter, summer, spring, fall, doesn't matter. Thank you, Teri.
Thank you.
Stay right there. One-on-one continues right after this with more great guests. That was fabulous.
You like it?
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org and visit us online at oneonone.org.